I'm MWG and let's get right into the tech news. Android versus iOS. It's like Notre Dame versus Miami, the battle of two hardcore fan bases. Right now we are in November. That means it's almost the end of 2017. This means I'm going to talk about the best phones in 2017 in 3 different categories: budget, mid-tier, and flagship price. I'm going to tell you the best phones in both Android and iOS in each of those pricing categories. Because frankly, you got people loyal to Android and you got people loyal to iOS. So I'm going to recommend phones for each. The first category up is budget phones. This pricing category is from around $100 to around $350. And I've got 2 pretty good phones for their price. Of course, with a phone at a budget price, you're not going to expect the best camera, the best flagship features. You're just going to expect a good, well-rounded phone. Some things you should look for at this budget price is adequate battery life, a good display, and an overall phone that could get the job done day to day. And I think I've chosen 2 pretty good phones. The first budget phone I'm recommending is the ZTE Z Max Pro. This phone is listed at around $100. You can find it for cheaper used, but of course, you're mostly going to find it for $100. This phone has a humongous 6-inch display. That display is going to get the job done, so is the battery life. The ZTE Max Pro is sure not slacking battery life with a 3,400 milliamp battery. Of course, the phone at this price isn't going to have the best camera, the best display, or even the best features, but it is going to be just average. You're truly on the lookout for just the cell phone basics: great battery life and a decent display. And this phone delivers on those 2 points. Something that is worth mentioning is that this phone has its connector as USB-C. No micro USB, great, lovely USB-C. So this phone is prepared for the future. And if you didn't already know this, it has a fingerprint scanner on the back of the phone, which you probably already know from all the pictures I've been showing you. The ZTE Z Max Pro is overall pretty good for its price. Now it's time for the iOS budget phone. You might be thinking that how is an iOS phone budget price? Especially with Apple just releasing a phone that costs $1,000. Well, remember this, flagship phones get cheaper through the years, and those flagship phones still had those flagship specs. So my iOS budget phone is the iPhone 6 Plus. You could find the iPhone 6 Plus for around $200. Yet again, you could always find it cheaper used, but for $200, that's really around the average price you're gonna see it at. The iPhone 6 Plus is still a good phone. It checks those 2 budget checklists: a good display and a good battery life. The 6 Plus has a traditional LCD 5.5-inch display. You truly don't need it to be much bigger than that. The 6 Plus right now actually has a decent camera. It's actually not that bad. The 6 Plus could actually reach all the way to 1080p at 60 frames per second. This is the exact video you're watching right now. 1080p at 60 frames per second. This is not bad. And if you still want it, I don't know why the phone has a headphone jack, which is not found in Apple's newer phones. The 2 phones I just said, the ZTE Max Pro and the iPhone 6 Plus, both deliver on that budget checklist. Both are at great value, especially for their price. Now it's time to get into the mid-tier of pricing for smartphones. And the first Android phone I'm going to recommend is the Essential phone. You probably have never heard of this company or even phone before. This is a brand new startup company led by the father of Android. For the company's first phone, they did a great job. The biggest thing about the Essential phone is the premium design. The material on the back of the phone is ceramic, very premium. And on the front, you have that beautiful 5.7-inch display with Gorilla Glass 3. And with the design comes a bezel-less display on the front. The display is 5.7 inches, but it has actually 2 notches, just like the iPhone X. Yes, the display on the Essential phone is 5.7 inches, but there is a little catch. The front-facing camera is sticking out in the display. This is similar to what the iPhone X is. Make the display as large as possible and just make a cutout for the camera. This makes it almost look like it's completely bezel-less. It goes with the trend of 2017. A la vista bezels. And the Essential phone is actually trying to remove bezels. It's a nice design, especially with that ceramic and titanium on the back. It's all premium and it still has some 2017 flagship features in there. It has a Snapdragon 835 processor, it has Bluetooth 5.0, it has wireless charging. This phone has dual cameras that record video all the way at 4K at 30 frames per second. This phone even has its own unique feature, and that's its magnetic connectors on the back. This is how the phone wirelessly charges. You have to buy the essential power mat, and with that power mat you could connect the magnetic connectors on the phone to the mat. And voila, power is transferring from the mat to your phone wirelessly. Those magnetic connectors can also transfer data. So this means you could add little mods to your phone. And the first mod that Essential came out with is the 360-degree camera. Overall, it's a good phone that fits the theme of 2017. And now for the iOS mid-tier pricing phone. This iOS phone is going to be the iPhone 7. Right now, the average price for finding an iPhone 7 is around $500. This phone was Apple's flagship last year. This means it's gonna have all the flagship specs, but just of 2016. So sorry, it's not gonna be a bezel-less design, but not everyone cares about that. The iPhone 7 still has stereo speakers, water resistance, a great, amazing camera. Along with that amazing camera is great battery life. This phone has it all. It's completely well-rounded. This phone may be a little small for a few people out there, but it's overall a well-rounded phone at great value. That's what you're looking for. There's something a little controversial with these two phones. Both the Essential phone and the iPhone 7 both don't have headphone jacks. So if you are a fan of the headphone jack, this list was definitely not for you right there. But trust me, just get wireless headphones and you will never use the headphone jack again. You don't have to go all out with AirPods, just a cheap wireless headset would do. And once you do that, you are prepared for the future. Because in 5 years, no phone is going to have a headphone jack. Yes, that means Samsung is going to remove the headphone jack. Just watch. The last category of the video is the very pricey flagship phone. In my opinion, there's only really two competitive smartphones at that expensive price range, and this is the Note 8 and the Google Pixel 2 XL. Both are hovering around $900. But if I had to choose between the two, I would go with the Google Pixel 2 XL. First of all, the Pixel 2 has stereo speakers. And you know I love stereo speakers. They're absolutely the best. And the second reason I chose the Google Pixel 2 is because of that stock Android experience. Stock Android is the closest thing to iOS. I dislike Samsung's skin on Android. If I'm going for Android, I just want pure stock Android. And you get that with the Pixel 2. And you can't forget the Pixel 2 XL has one of the best, if not the best, smartphone camera of 2017. And the last phone of the day I'm going to recommend is the iPhone X. Yes, the iPhone X costs $1,000, but it's clearly the best iPhone ever. It has a beautiful redesign with the display going truly edge to edge. It has Face ID and emoji, portrait mode on the front-facing camera, 4K at 60 frames per second. It's the fastest smartphone in the world. This phone has it all. It's clearly the best iPhone ever. If you want the best sometimes, you're gonna have to pay for it. This is what you could expect from flagship phones. You could expect those highest quality features, but you're also gonna expect a high expensive price. I just recommended 3 Android phones and 3 iOS phones. I believe each phone is the best phone you could buy at its price point. Make sure you smash that subscribe button right here to stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one.